In other news, we got a couple of announcements in the MCU uh, space these past couple weeks. And one of them I actually just saw today. I guess I'd missed it a couple days ago, but yeah, the big announcement last week of the Avengers Doomsday casting. The first set of literal chairs that we got for those. I don't think I would say most of them were expected, and obviously there were some that were like okay. But yeah, so basically there was and I don't. This is what I heard. I didn't actually watch it, but apparently it was like a 5 hour and something long live stream.
Yeah, they started at like 8 in the morning, and like every 20 minutes to an hour, they would put another name out there.
That has to be one of the dumbest announcements I've ever heard of in my life. Like you're going to make people sit on that for 5 hours just to see that, Simu Liu is going to be in this, or what's the guy that plays the Namor character? Like he's in there. Like okay, or like, oh, Vanessa Kirby and Pedro Pascal. Yeah, duh, because we're about to have Fantastic Four. Like that's, to me, that's a waste of everybody's time. Like it, and we can talk more about like the ramifications, but I mean, how many chairs were there total? I didn't count how many, but we know this is not the last of the casting announcements. Like we know there's some characters who were not announced that will absolutely be in the movie. So I'm curious to see kind of where y'all's initial reactions were on what we did see and kind of where you think that this is going.
I'll let Christian go first because
I think the most exciting announcement was that the X-Men like squad was going to be in it, and it's not just Patrick Stewart. Like you're getting Magneto's in there, Alan Cummings in there,
Cyclops,
Channing Tatum. I'm really excited about personally, just because I feel like he's a really Gambit character, and I've been wanting a Gambit movie, and I know that was rumored, and so maybe we're potentially going to be trending that way.
I think he's going to get a movie. I think that's pretty likely.
Well, also I want to ask you guys if Deadpool and Wolverine didn't perform as well as it did, and he wasn't so well received, would he be in this movie?
No, probably not. I mean, no, I say that, but it's like also there's characters. There's characters in those chairs. Like, why is Namor in this? Like, I don't know. Like, why is, it's just one of those things where I'm just like, I don't really, obviously the big ones are like, Chris Hemsworth, where there was rumors that he wasn't even sure if he wanted to come back as Thor again after, the way they botched his character. And really it started in Ragnarok, and it was taken to another extreme in Love and Thunder, but obviously they either threw him a fat paycheck or they convinced him that they were going to do a more serious version of his character again. And so obviously like him coming back is big. We knew Robert Downey Jr. was going to be in it because he's literally in the name of the movie. And then obviously the former X-Men was a pretty big announcement, although I'm really interested to see how they're going to get a couple 80-something-year-old guys to play those characters. That's going to be
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm more surprised about who's not in this movie than I am who's in it. Let me just name some names and then we can talk about them, or we can talk about them as I name them, either one. So first, I know
you're talking about like Tom Holland and all of them.
Yeah, so he's one. He's not in it.
I think he
Nick
is.
Fury's not in it. Huh?
I think they're in it. I think they're just not being announced.
I think it's already been said that there's going to be more announcements of casting. I think this.
I'm sure it's not fine. Obviously, they got plenty of time to change it. But Hulk and She-Hulk, any of the Hulks, Hulk, She-Hulk, Red Hulk, and whatever Hulk's son's name is.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy are not in it. Doctor Strange and Wong are not in it.
Mm-hmm.
America Chavez is not in it.
Well,
in a movie that's supposed to be about, well, the fate of the multiverse is on the line, and she's not in the movie. Again, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel's not in it. Miss Marvel's not in it. Deadpool and Wolverine's not in it.
I think we're gonna get. I think the big names that everyone knows needs to be in it, like your Guardians of the Galaxies, your Wolverine and Deadpool, your those are gonna get announced. I think Wolverine and Deadpool's a given, considering how well that movie did.
Also,
and the fact that Gambit is in it, yeah, like that. And so, but another thing that I saw somebody mention just regarding the X-Men is like, do you feel like they're just trying to do another Deadpool and Wolverine where they're just trying to pull in nostalgic characters to get us hooked again like they did in that one? Because
if they're doing that, why are they not pulling the first class X-Men in?
That's what I would do.
I mean, I'd be for it, but because I like both versions. Obviously, I like the original versions better, but like I don't think they've been able to convince Halle. Halle, is it Berry? Halle Berry that played Storm. I think she's basically turned them down every time they've asked her, because I think they wanted her to be in Deadpool and Wolverine, and she said no. But like, I'd love to see them get them. Like, I've even heard people say rumors that Nick Cage may come back as Ghost Rider, which would be stinking awesome.
I'd be so sick.
Because I'll admit, those are not the greatest movies, but I love the character Ghost Rider, and I thought Nick Cage was decent. So
yeah, he did do good. Somebody else that's not in there that I thought should have been in there was the Wasp. So I mean, it's rumored that Evangeline Lilly don't want anything to do with it anymore either.
Do you blame her? I mean,
the movies were terrible.
She kind of got sidelined in the last one anyway, so.
Yeah.
So and then there's a couple that were kind of I don't know if they would have been in it, but like Moon Knight's not in it, Daredevil's not in it.
Yeah, I think if you're putting Shang-Chi in it, then you got to put like Moon Knight in it, right?
I think at some point they have to, because I think the problem you're going to run into is obviously with like Infinity War, you had a relatively small cast of Avengers, and they were separated from each other. You had these two different storylines going at once.
Yeah.
In Infinity War, you had an even smaller group for the majority of the movie, and the whole group doesn't even show up till the very, very end. So my thing is, how do you pull that off with if you go past what they've already cast and you keep adding the names that we just mentioned, like that count's going to be around like 30, 40 characters. Like, how do you balance that many and how do you afford all of those actors? Like, I don't, because guys like Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen and like Hugh Jackman,
they're making a killing.
Like they're getting a fat paycheck for that. So, and they said, I heard they paid Robert Downey Jr. like $40 million for these two Avengers movies, which is insane. And Chris Hemsworth is getting a fat check too. So at some point you're like, how do you have the money to even pay him?
And like Pedro Pascal's probably getting a massive amount of money.
Yeah. All the Fantastic Four's in this movie.
Yeah.
Which they're probably cheaper than some of the longtime guys. Like,
I don't know. Pedro Pascal is probably pretty expensive.
He's probably more expensive than he was, but I wouldn't call him like a superstar actor. He has been in a lot of stuff, but he's not like a Tom Cruise or a, to carry that.
Tom Hiddleston's probably pretty expensive.
Yeah, any of the longtime ones, I feel like they're going to be.
Well, and somebody else that's not in it, and then I'll be done. But none of the Eternals are in it either, which I know that's a bad movie, but
they basically just like snapped them out of existence.
Yeah,
they haven't.
I don't think that they could afford most. Like Angelina Jolie is not going to come.
I think Marvel wants. I think Marvel wants to like forget that movie ever existed.
They want to remember what the plot was, but they don't remember. They don't want to remember what the who the characters were.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know.
I would take a Black Knight character though.
I mean, I personally, I think, I mean, I know they're getting the Russo brothers back to do these, and that's whatever, like they have a good track record with Marvel. Their stuff outside of Marvel is atrocious. I've tried to watch a couple of their movies. They did one on Netflix called The Gray Man, and I think I made it like 45 minutes to an hour in it and turned it off because it was terrible. Had a good cast. It was like Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, Anna de Armas, and it was just like terrible writing. Like it was bad. And then they just did the one called The Electric State. I think that was also on Netflix, and apparently it was gosh awful. And it had like Millie Bobby Brown and Chris Pratt in it, and it was So they do good with Marvel. They just for whatever reason they can't do anything outside of that. So I mean, I guess if you're going to get anybody, you get those guys, and maybe like the only other one I could think of that might have been better would have been like Jon Favreau because he did the Iron Mans. But it's like, I don't know. I think what they should have done is get all the characters back that we still like the Guardians and obviously Thor and Hulk and well, I'm saying the ones that you can that are still alive. Most people are saying that they think that Chris Evans is going to be in it to some degree or another. So
I think, and I think this is going off towards what they're going to be. I think Secret Wars is going to be the next like really big Avengers, and I think this is the lead up to that. So we may not see those characters maybe in this one, but I think Secret Wars is where we may see a lot of those characters come back.
Well, and this is kind of this piles on with the first announcement. I think when we were talking about Tom Holland, the other announcement from a couple of days ago is they gave a reveal of like the title for Spider-Man 4, which is releasing in July of next year. The name is Brand New Day, which I thought was like, can we not get better Spider-Man titles? Like,
no,
Homecoming made sense because it was like a double meaning, like he's literally going to Homecoming at the end of the movie, and also it's like the homecoming of Spider-Man to the MCU. Like I get that, but it's like then it was like, oh, we got to put home in every title, and then now it's like let's do Brand New Day, which apparently is based on a comic book that didn't do particularly well. I was reading into some of that, and apparently it was actually the follow-up to one of the least or the most hated Spider-Man comics of all time. That was called I can't remember the name of the one that came before it, but basically everyone got mad about it because it basically ended. It had Peter and Mary Jane basically like break up with each other or whatever. In their relationship, which was like the centerpiece of the Spider-Man comics for a long time, was their relationship. So, but yeah, so that to me, there's been some people saying like they don't think that Spider-Man will be in Doomsday since that movie's coming in July, but they think he'll be in Secret Wars. So I'm wondering how many of these characters will be in one but not the other. I think that's another discussion that I think you were sort of touching on there. But
yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously they still got plenty of time to change. I mean, whatever, I mean, I feel like this is just the first reveal just to get people excited.
I think we'd be a lot more excited if there was a build up to any kind of story, but like right now we don't have one at all. Like they're going to have to do all the setup for this in the Fantastic Four and maybe Thunderbolts if they can.
Well, that is another point. All the Thunderbolts are in it, including Sentry.
Yeah. So they'll I imagine that they're going to use these next two movies to set up, but I'm just afraid it's going to be like all in credit scenes, and that's just not enough. Like it's not. Like they're going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting at the first part of that Doomsday movie to set up the plot, you know. So I don't know. it's interesting to see, just kind of see where they might go with it. But I can't say that I'm excited about it. I think I'm kind of like, I want you to show me you can do something consistently good, and so far they haven't done that. So I don't know.
I'm. It's like mind-boggling to me that there's a Avengers movie coming out next year. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel like
Literally out of nowhere.
Yeah, like I don't feel like there's been anything that's led up to any Avengers type of. I mean, like you look at the new Captain America movie. What did that do to give you any inkling that there was anything Avengers coming down the road?
Well, they mentioned that he needs to get the Avengers back together. That's it.
But
yeah,
is Sam Wilson really that guy?
Apparently, he's in the movie.
I mean, I hope they're not trying to make him the leader. Like, I know he's the one with the military background, but to me, it's like I'd rather have Thor as the leader than
Thor
from the end of Endgame, but the Thor, like maybe Thor after he gets Stormbreaker, like that Thor would be pretty stinking awesome. Like before in Infinity War, like that Thor would be great. But because to me that was the best version of Thor we ever got. So, but no, I don't know. I really don't. That's going to be interesting. Like, who do they choose as the leader? I mean, could it be a Professor X once he is entered into the equation, or will it be Pedro Pascal? I hope to goodness it's not. There's a lot of question marks. Like that's kind of what makes this topic so interesting to talk about. Is it's just nobody knows anything. I don't think there's really like the whole plot is a complete mystery, and other than the fact that it's going to be loosely tied to the Doomsday comics. I mean, which we know Doctor Doom's the villain, but we don't know much more than that. So I don't know. I guess we will find out.